Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, good evening, whenever you get a chance to see this episode of Podcast Excellence. It's Sunday morning where we are. And as always, I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian whistleblower, with my good friend Wayne Steiger. Wayne, how are you this morning?
I'm doing well. Let me just invoke favor upon you, my friend Jeff, and the audience, and may there be nothing missing, nothing broken in your life.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Wayne, as I was sitting down this morning, I realized that we've been doing this for a long time, and it's really like Seinfeld. It's a show about nothing.
No agenda. It's like
no agenda whatsoever.
I mean, it's one of the programs where you don't have to think about it.
That's true. I had a big revelation yesterday, and it's probably going to get me in trouble, but this is just the start of what will get me in trouble. We're fond of saying that truth is like an onion. You peel one layer and you get another layer and another layer and another layer. But also, I should say, error is also like an onion. You peel one layer off, you think, oh, I'm out of air. There's another layer. Oh, I'm out of air. There's another layer. So error is an onion just like truth is. What do you think about that?
Yeah. When we always get to that question of truth and whose truth, that's what I want to know.
That's a good question.
Yeah. I don't know. We all seem to live our own truth, and then we try to apply our truth to other people's truth, and that's where things get screwed up.
And also, people use this idea of my truth as something to hide behind as well. Well, This is just my truth.
Well,
ladies and gentlemen, in the real world, that doesn't really mean much. Your truth can be one thing, but reality can be quite a different thing.
Boy, isn't that the truth? I didn't mean that either. I mean, now this is truly becoming like a Seinfeld. So I'm reading this book, The Science of the Mind, and I came across this one about the hereafter. I'd like to get your opinion on it. It says, the question might arise in our minds, where shall we go when we die? Shall we engage in activity or shall we be inactive? These are natural questions. Where shall we take this marvelous mind and subtle body? If today is the logical continuance of yesterday, then all of the tomorrows will stretch down the vista of eternity, will be a continuity of experience and remembrance. We shall keep on keeping on. We shall continue in our path of our own individual stream of consciousness, but forever and ever expanding, not less, but ever more and more, and still more of ourselves. Now, here's the point. Our place hereafter will be what we have made it. We certainly cannot take anything with us but our character. If we have lived in accordance with the law of harmony, we shall continue to live after this divine law. If we have lived any other way, we shall continue to live in that way until we wake up to the facts of our being.
I would take issue with the logical, quote unquote, conclusion that today is a continuation of yesterday.
That's a broad assumption. Very, very astute.
And I think that at the end of the day, the best we can hope for is that we have a choice to decide where we go after this life, that we do it with sovereignty, divinity, and freedom, and not herded like cattle.
Odd you say that, because
I'm very odd, Wayne. So,
well, the synchronicity, shall I put it, is synchronous. Anyway, the sovereignty. I've had a lot of people write me this week about sovereignty. I've had people who say, well, I have a dark spirit that's hanging around me. And it occurred to me, if you're truly a sovereign spirit, then you need to suck it up, Cupcake, and take control. There should be no way that a spirit would ever harass us.
I mean, if you're around a person that you don't want to hang around, what do you do?
Now, that's a different situation.
Walk away. But if there's a spirit hanging around you that you don't want around, tell them to get the hell out of there. It's not that hard.
Yeah. Well, it's always, I told someone yesterday, I wrote them and I said, you've got to take control of the situation. you could have someone come in and cleanse your house. You can have someone who could be even spiritually, of a higher level. But in the end, you're going to have to take either it's your house or it's not.
Exactly, exactly. And I just noticed your llama thing. That llama has two L's, and most
Yes.
people, even spiritual people, even woke people, they don't just have drama; they got double D drama in their life,
Well, you had a,
and they
I
love it.
yeah, they feed off of it.
It's so crazy.
They feed off
It's like,
it.
remember back in when we were in the Christian days, when you wanted to gossip about somebody, you would either, you'd probably share the, if you're going to gossip about somebody, you just want to share the truth. If you really got some juicy gossip, you want to share the truth in love. It's the same thing in this woke world. Oh, I'm divine, I'm sovereign and free, but let me tell you about this drama I got going on.
Yes.
And why don't you just stop? Oh, brother, you don't understand. This is my truth. Oh, okay.
I saw your little challenge you had during the week, and it occurred to me we have a lot of women that watch this show. We have a lot of young women. We have a lot of females, I mean, of all ages. And I always marvel that when someone taking a religious stance would become so degrading of the feminine personification.
What do you mean?
Well, when you call another male a female genital part, I mean,
Oh yeah,
that's
that.
totally disrespect. I mean, there's no respect there. None.
And it's, Wayne, I'm going to go out on a limb and say this. I don't think that I've ever had any vicious, horrific, nasty, pornographic insults from anyone that did not claim to be a Christian.
Yeah.
Only the Christians stoop that low. And it's when you think about it, they're acting exactly the way that their God would act.
It's interesting. You and we did not talk, folks. In fact, we didn't
I've never
actually.
been called female genitalia from anybody other than a Christian.
Yeah, neither have I. It's like, well, what does that say? I
It says
always
that
found
Christians are
this.
really obsessed with female genitalia.
Um,
And it's probably not too far of a stretch to say that the people that are always using the terminology female genitalia probably aren't very familiar with it.
I could comment on that one. Well, when you talk about this reaction, the way you act, and the how you begin to emulate your God, I always found it this way. And it said, along the way, God, the Lord Yahweh, Jehovah, met Moses and sought to kill him. Okay, now I know why the religion is a hate religion. I mean, Christianity is a cult religion. It's a blood sacrificing religion, and here's their God. This God is out to kill Moses. Jeff, have you ever gone and sought to kill somebody?
Hey, Cliff Desmond. No, I have not.
Neither have I.
Well, does it count if you've ever gone and sought to rough somebody up?
No, I think that said kill. That's
Yeah,
murder.
I never tried to kill anybody, but I did think about roughing somebody up one time, and there
Well,
was some legal charges filed, but
but the
that was
point
a
is,
long
but
time ago.
you're not claiming to be the only God, though, are you?
No, I'm just claiming to be one of the new gods. That's all.
Uh-huh. And this cat over here, he's saying that he's holy, righteous, jealous, vengeful. And then I'm going,
Talk
and
about double D drama, Wayne.
oh, it's within the matrix.
Yep.
Jeff, that's why they'll never let us back in. We're a
But we
virus.
don't want in. We don't want in.
No, I don't want it back either. I really don't. It's like, no, but yeah, I always find that one right there, and no one will answer that one. No one on the where we came from wants to address that. I actually had someone say, well, that's God. He can do whatever he wants.
And these are not stupid people. There's very smart, very intelligent people that are in Christianity, but they check their brain at the door like, oh, well, that's just God. You wouldn't let someone that works for you be that way. You wouldn't be in a relationship with someone that's that way. What's wrong with you? All of a sudden, because he says he's God, he gets to act like a child. It's, you know what? And this is, whoops, here we go, Wayne. This is the same reason why these people support the nation of Israel and say that Israel can do whatever it wants. It doesn't have to act like a, a, a just sovereign, a just nation, a good member of the world, a good citizen of the world of nations. They can kill and attack and destroy and wage war, and they don't they don't get called to account like other nations because they're God's chosen people. It's the same actions of that sorry, fallen, failed God. He can't control himself, and the people that worship him can blame him for not controlling themselves.
When you point that out so eloquently, and that's what they stand on, and listen, that's fine, but I guess, whatever you believe, but the point is, they say, and it is written in the Old Testament, they are my chosen people. That sets up racism.
Absolutely. And then, by the way, the New Testament says that the real gods are no respecter of persons.
And didn't Paul's God, didn't he give a list of attributes that says, well, if you're like this, you're of the evil one, because these are the attributes of the right one. But then you go in the Old Testament and you're going, whoa, wait a minute. God got those jealousy?
Right.
Wait a minute.
I think that's actually in James, that list.
And also in Galatians.
Oh, that's true. Okay.
Yep. Attributes of the Spirit.
Right.
And I'm going, wait a minute, Paul, you said jealousy? Well,
yeah.
My God, it's over here too. So what God is Paul talking about, Jeff?
Well, he's talking about his God, and his God is not the good God. That's for sure.
And didn't he say in Ephesus, I think it's in Acts 19, I think it was when he was into Ephesus, didn't he say that he served the God that had no name?
Oh, when he was talking at Mars Hill, yeah.
And people, if you ever go to Ephesus, you can actually see that amphitheater where supposedly he made that speech, but there's a synagogue 50 yards away. So how could Paul be standing there saying that he's a Jew, but now he's saying that he's worshiping a God that has no name, no image? Because that's what he said. He says, gentlemen, along the promenade, I saw that one of your places was that this was dedicated to the God that has no name. He said, I serve that God. I'm trying to figure out who that guy is.
Yep. It was a nice rhetorical turn of phrase, but problematic at best when you're talking theologically. Oh, Carmen says the Bible is a book of drama. Isn't that good?
Oh, well said. Well said. Excellent. Yeah. So, this whole conundrum, and then I've been writing, and I wrote this and I said, wait a minute. I said, did the Grays write the story to begin with? In other words, there is no God, folks. There's no God of the Bible. There's no Jesus. There's no Muhammad. There's no nothing. This was an all made up story by a group of intelligent beings, you could say, a species that took us captive.
It's hard to argue against that. And I don't know if I said this since we've been on, but I know before we came on, I was talking about, we're very fond of saying that truth is like an onion. You peel off one layer, oh, there's some truth, and there's another layer of truth, there's another layer of truth, there's another layer of truth. What we fail to realize too many times is that when we're coming out of error, that there's also errors also like an onion. You come out of one layer of error, there's another layer of error, there's another layer of error, and you got to keep going till you get all the way down to the core, and the core is in the inside of you, and you're not really out of error until you've got down to the core of yourself. And so many people, there's so many layers of false enlightenment, faux enlightenment, that a lot of people will stop and camp in, not realizing that, oh, I'm 3 layers through error, so I've got to be the truth. No, there's still more errors. There's still more layers until you got to the core, and the core is you. And taking care of that, you're not in truth yet.
It's an inside job, isn't it?
So keep digging.
I mean, it's a total inside job.
Until you get to bottom, Wayne, you can't begin to reach up.
I recant the story when I finally got out from under the God spell, and I mean,
Let me
Jeff,
break in with this because so it doesn't go by. Ghost 3. Are the Greys the Jews that call themselves Jews but are not?
mm,
Boom. That's something to think about.
well, these books can't they can't all either be truth or they either have to be all lies. And it gets back to this whole thing again. I think that this has been written purposely. Um, I read a story yesterday in sapiens.com. It's the anthropology online magazine. And they have found evidence now of hominins 3.4 million years ago where they were using flint objects. And it was always thought that hominins were meat eaters. Well, it's not. It's not true at all. Actually, we come from eating vegetables. Our mouths are still designed for that. But here was the point. There weren't meat eaters to begin with. You know what they were wanting? They actually harvested the bones of these very large animals. And that's what they got their nutrients from was the marrow.
Hmm.
And the one other place, and I hadn't even realized this, was eating brains.
Wow.
Because in the cranial cavity, the brains would be more preserved than the meat. The meat would begin to rot. That's why they went for the bones, and they had sharp instruments to break the bones to be able to suck the marrow out. And it's resulting from that, they're thinking that that's why our craniums began to increase in size.
Hmm. So can I go out on a limb and say that if you're sucking bones and eating brains, that you probably don't qualify as vegetarian anymore?
It may be the root. I did a show that you had spoken on adrenochrome, and my wife pointed out to me as a nurse, there are some people who have to eat meat.
There are.
They have to eat, they can only get the protein and the enzyme that their body needs is from meat.
And as an aside, there were several, and it's funny, there's this whole subculture of hyper vegans on YouTube. And recently, within the last month, two or three of them have been busted out. One got caught eating fish. And when she got busted, three or four of the other ones came out and said, look, we are super, super sick. We can't continue to be vegan. We've got to start introducing some animal protein into our diet. And these guys are the super vegans. They're the ones that have 3, 4, 500,000 followers. So they don't have to, work any secular jobs. They have people cooking for them, or they can select and cook, and they've got the best of the best, and they still can't maintain a complete vegan lifestyle. So if you're trying to for moral reasons and it's not working for you, don't kill yourself with guilt,
Yeah.
because even under ideal circumstances, there's still some people out there, whether you have a great strong moral conviction or not, that you just can't be vegan for years and years and years and years without literally killing yourself.
And they found kale, this superfood or the vegetable. It's one of the most contaminated foods out there.
Yeah, kale is the most. Was it E. coli? The most
Yeah.
E. coli. E.
Yeah.
coli kale.
Yeah. It's and it
I'll
when
have
you
the kale without the E. coli, please.
yeah, I can't.
One of the great lines I ever heard. What was the girl's name? Anne Hathaway, that was playing. She played Catwoman in the last Batman with Christian Bale.
Mm-hmm.
And she said she was on this diet where she got to eat. She got her diet was like 3 whiffs of kale. I thought it was hilarious.
Well, it goes to show we don't understand our bodies. I mean, I had this conversation yesterday. When they completed the Human Genome Project, the biggest revelation that came that still astounds me that no religion is addressing, we now know 100% definitively there are no true human beings. Every one of us today are hybrids.
And Mamet Tagolu says in the chat room, pork is not food. Jesus never ate it. May I ask very politely, how do you know? That's all.
Yeah. And that gets us
Maybe
started.
Jesus ate it because Jesus never ate it because he never ate nothing because he wasn't
He
real.
didn't actually walk, folks, but you see, that's where the problem because if you believe in the story, well, then you have to go back and find out who Daddy is. And that's where you run into this little thing there in Book of Exodus 3:21. Your God, Daddy of Jesus, is a murderer.
And the bearded one is willing to take all Mamet's pork because he loves bacon.
You know, yikes.
I'm not a big fan of pork, to be frank with you.
You know, um, I will say this: you get a good beef tenderloin. Yeah, I mean, one that's cooked just right. I don't care what anyone says. It's like walking down the midway of a fair, and you've got the onions that they're frying blowing through the midway. You're going to get hungry.
Yeah. And the people that know these things, Wayne, I don't know these things, but they say that pork is the most closely tasting meat to human flesh.
I've heard
And it's always interesting how they push pork a lot. Are they trying to move us towards that way, towards the other white meat?
Well, now I know what Rod Sterling was meaning in that one, the episode where the humans were in the spaceship and they couldn't translate the book, and they finally translated it, and it was a cookbook for humans. So I guess
That's
maybe
hilarious.
maybe we do taste like pork. I don't know.
Well, they
Um,
call us long pig.
I don't know. If you look at the Human Genome Project, um, we've got this 6-7% of what they used to call dirty DNA. And now we're finding out, well, that's not so dirty after all. It seems like that this is kind of the smoking gun that says, hey, folks, dig a little deeper. You're not who you think you are.
Oh, and I mean, somebody's talking about pork is very close to humans because, I mean, how many people are walking around with pig hearts and pig valves and stuff?
And that's true. That's
Wow.
absolutely true. You can live on a pig's heart temporarily. In fact, I think in the early days, isn't that what they did?
And, some people are talking about, if you get a transfusion from somebody else or an organ from somebody else, you start acting like that person. I wonder if that's ever happened with the people that got like pig transplants.
I just started thinking, I got it. I'm glad that we're not truly fully adaptive telepathically yet.
Exactly. Jameis
Because
says a pig will eat a human all but teeth and hair. Interesting.
wow. I'm reading a lot of this. Yeah. Grunt. It makes you think. I mean, and then you look at our DNA, the human genome, we have rhesus monkey in us. I mean, my blood type is O positive. What's yours?
O positive. And
Yeah.
Tina's grandpa has a pig valve in his heart.
See? So I don't know. My wife asked me, she says, so where do you think we actually came from? And I said, well, we weren't created.
Oh, pig skin is used by apprentice tattoo artists because it's just like our skin, says Zora Dax, who
I
knows
did
what
not
she's
know
talking
that.
about. I didn't know that either.
Wow.
That's brand new information right here on Not Your Normal Sunday Show.
Wow. Huh. I'll have to get that.
Wait till PETA hears about this, that there's tattoo artists running around viciously tattooing pigs with poor tattoos because they're training. Who are these people to think that they can put bad tattoos on pigs? I'm appalled and I'm shocked.
Someone says the rhesus could be off planet. Hey, I think that could be. It's in us. How do you think it got there, Jeff?
What's that? I'm sorry. I had
The
a
RH
coffee
factor.
change. That's a mystery. And that's one I've never really gotten into because I don't know enough about it. So I just kind of, and to be frank with you, for some reason, it's never really interested me that much. And now Jenny Simon wants a tattooed pig.
Well, the Cathars, you remember their
Right.
slaughter. They were reported to have the highest concentration of Rh negative.
The movie The Secret Life of Pets has a pig with tattoos.
Here
Wow,
we
the
go.
things you learn.
People used pig shoulders to practice. Yeah, listen, I didn't know this.
Why can't they use a pig's ass? Oh, I'm guessing that the pig is already dead. They're not tattooing real pigs, living pigs.
Shadow Spirit, I can tell you I'm reading that. Actually, that story is the story.
Every one of them, Shadow Spirit, every pig that he ever came around ran off a cliff. Every one?
Actually, that story is about Vespasian.
Oh, and I had Robert Atwell on last week.
By the way, I didn't get a chance to watch that yet. How did that go?
It was great, and he's going to come back on in the next couple of weeks and talk about his other book, Shakespeare's Secret Messiah.
Oh, you mean Francis Bacon?
I'm Bacon, but on bone.
Come on. That was perfect.
I think it's going to come up.
Well, it should, because if people figure out that one, OMG, there would be a mass exodus to the door from every Christian Protestant church out there.
Oh, pig ligaments are used to fix knees.
Well, I do know that. Yeah. You used to have on your knee reconstruction, they would actually use tendons and ligaments from pigs.
So why are pigs and humans so compatible?
And a pig is just below a human in intelligence. They say they make excellent pets.
Well, they're still not smart enough not to get tattoos.
Hey, listen, they like wallowing in mud. I mean, what does that tell you?
Well, Zora says it's because pigs have the intelligence of a 3-year-old. What 3-year-old do you know that doesn't like to wallow in mud?
Well, that's the whole point,
Wow, that's interesting.
So now we've got
in the Truth is Stranger Than Fiction, Wayne. Think about this. 125E5 says that on their YouTube, an ad just showed up for Piggly Wiggly.
Oh, come on. I mean, they're listening, I know, but come on, AI, give us a break.
April still likes wallowing in mud, and I think she's older than 3.
Well, you can go to the fine spas and you can take mud baths.
And have you ever wondered what's in that mud?
Well, silica, and they say.
Those people don't make a lot of money. They're like, here's this rich woman paying to sit in this mud. I got something for her.
And they don't change the mud out, do they? I mean, you're sitting in someone else's filth that was in the mud to begin with. So now their filth is added to the mud, and you're going to contribute to that DNA.
And what happens if you're all stuck in that mud? You're that deep in that mud, and you have to go to the bathroom. Are you going to get out of that mud?
Don't even go there. That's why I don't go to public pools. You can't put enough chlorine in that water. Yeah.
So enjoy your spa treatment, ladies, next time you go, and your gentlemen that are want to do such a thing.
Well, that's what they do. And
I don't think I would. I have no desire to cover myself with mud. I really don't.
That's why in Glenwood Springs, they have all the hot springs. At least they're recirculating. Nature's doing it.
Randomly asks, is that why Muslims don't like pigs? I don't know.
I don't know either.
They talk about putting lipstick on a pig.
And what is it? Don't cast your pearls before the swine.
And this is one of the reasons why I love Cliff Desmond. He puts in there mud wrestling.
Mud wrestling.
Okay, I stand corrected. There could be some decent uses for mud.
Like a sow's, like a pig's ear. I'm just thinking of all these things.
Why don't Muslims and Jews like pigs?
They're unclean.
Interesting.
They say they're unclean.
That's interesting. And even these Christians, here's one of those faux enlightenments. Oh, well, I don't eat pork anymore, so I'm more like Jesus. Are you really?
Yeah. I still tell people, read the book, The Search for the Historical Jesus. It is a great book. And in there, he has a section in what happened in 524 AD with the Vatican and the Arabs.
What
And
happened?
well, I contend that it was the Catholic Church that invented Islam. They're the ones who started it. It was their emissaries from the Vatican that planted that whole thing.
You know, Wayne, I got put on that trail a couple times and I studied it down as much as I could, but it always gets back to that article by the stupid, fake, false, phony Alberto Rivera pseudo priest. That's where it always led to me, so I dismissed it.
I've tried to look for this, but I don't know. I look at it from a political point of view.
Ooh, Cliff, does Jesus taste like pork?
You're going to burn in hell for that. They're
Good
going to
one,
get you,
Cliff.
Cliff.
Cliff, I can tell you're feeling better.
Well, I still contend that there was this period of time, we know that once Rome began to deteriorate and pretty much Judea was left in ruins by Titus, that it makes sense to me that someone organized them.
And by the way, this all comes back full circle to the Seinfeld thing because they had a Pigman episode.
They did. They did. I remember with Kramer in the hospital.
Yes.
George, it's the pig man. It's pig boy. Oh, goodness gracious. We're on to the pig today. Oh, my. I'm going to have to go out and get some ribs or what?
This is a whole new meaning to rooted and grounded.
Ay, ay, ay. It goes to show you, as much as we like to say that we know who and what we are, we don't have a clue. Not a clue. And
so does RH negative blood mean that someone is a freaking alien?
It's that question, how did the rhesus hemoglobin get into our bloodstream and become part of our genetic makeup?
I just want to know what peanut butter cups got to do with any of this.
I have no idea.
Because it's always Reese's this, Reese's that. The only Reese's I know is the peanut butter cup. Well,
it's one of those things we don't want to focus in on because the implications blow every religion out of the water. It clearly defines that we may have, in fact, come from a species that was already here. I think it clearly shows genetic manipulation, in my opinion, that something is not right. There's something still not right about us. I mean, our genetic makeup, our code breaks down. It's breaking down. We're not increasing in intelligence. We're not increasing in lifespan. That's a degradation of a species, not what I would call a progression.
Now, we could argue, though, let's say from the Middle Ages till now, that we have probably doubled our lifespan, our expected lifespan.
Yeah, I think what the average was, 35, 40?
And now it's probably 72-ish.
So
that's a declination historically.
Yeah. Was talking to. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Well, I was just thinking this whole, they took 1,000 years out. Do we think that's true? And why would they do it?
I don't know.
It's very interesting.
I just question, Jeff, if you take the creation story, so that says that the creation story happened, I don't know, somewhere about 10, 12,000 years ago. We should still be at the IQ level of 2,718. The average IQ of the Americans is regressing. We were at a plateau of about 120. We're falling down now. And when you have a species that's regressing in intelligent quotient, that doesn't bode well.
It doesn't. And I mean, all you have to do is sit back and watch an hour of primetime television, including the news, to realize people are stupid.
We were watching some of the golf match play, and it was pretty good. I was watching Steiger. Anyway.
How's he doing, by the way?
He made some phenomenal shots. He made it all the way to the quarterfinals. So, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
But it was the ads. There were an overabundance of pharmaceutical ads, every type, diabetes, psoriasis, heart failure, blood thinning, and I'm watching all these. And then you see the commercials themselves, and they're on the level of about a 5-year-old.
Do people really go into the doctor and say, "Hey, doc, I saw this commercial for this or that. Can I have some?"
I don't know, but it's the systematic programming, brainwashing of a complete populace.
Oh, so
Now
when
you
the
have
doc
to be on a
mentions it,
drug.
you say, "Oh, yeah, I heard that on TV. It must be good."
Yeah. And by the way, all of these drugs they're advertising, they run about $3,000 a month.
And why do they run $3,000 a month, Wayne?
No, it's because Big Pharma owns them. I mean, take insulin. More Americans are now diabetic than ever before. And what drug do they find, particularly when you get to type 1 diabetes, where you have to have insulin? Insulin has gone up 1,280% in the last 5 years.
Can I say that the pharmaceutical companies will continue to charge as much as the insurance companies will pay?
Do you know that when a child is born now, that data is sent to the pharmacies, the pharmaceutical, Big Pharma, along with that child's DNA? Parents no longer own their children's DNA. And this is what most parents are finding out when they bring their children home. The state owns it.
And we
That,
have data on that, Wayne?
oh, go into the state of Missouri is a classic example. Why do we know this? Because it's where our granddaughter was born.
Wow.
And you check out on the hospital, the DNA has already been sent. And that
Do they
DNA,
ask permission?
they don't need permission.
Ooh.
You what, do you really think that your parentship supersedes the state's?
So when they stick the baby in the heel or whatever to blood type it and stuff, they're also extracting DNA and that becomes part of the profile.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
And then today,
That's
that data is
troubling.
sent to Big Pharma. They now do the actuaries on you. They actually know how much money they're going to actually generate off of you, what type of disease you're most prone to, and which particular prescription you're going to need in order to maintain that, not cure you. There are no cures out there because Big Pharma doesn't make money on cures.
The cures aren't profitable.
Yeah. The bottom line doesn't work. I just read an article in the Wall Street Journal. Do you know that we are in the age of where monopolies now own more? They are bigger than they have ever been before. I remember when Reagan busted them all up. But here they are now. Our lives are basically owned by about a half a dozen multinational corporations. And they all want our DNA, our information. When you and I were born, my birth certificate doesn't give me much information on my parents at all. Today, you have a complete data profile.
Wow. That's interesting.
It sucks, Jeff. It sucks. I mean, it's, and I don't know. I'm really concerned about this for our species. Maybe it's just me, but I have become so sensitively aware that we're being watched everywhere now. This artificial intelligence has permeated every part of our lives. And Jeff, there is no such thing as freedom. You know, I said this on my
Well,
show.
there's no such thing as privacy, that's for sure.
That's exactly. And if there's no privacy, there's no freedom.
Well, isn't that a little bit of a mindset? I mean, if they're watching you, do you really care if they're watching you?
Well, let's just become a little bit more
Sounds like a
totalitarian.
song.
What if you're breaking laws in your home? You no longer have the sovereignty of your own. If you're getting data, that data is leaking out of your home, you don't control that data. So they can look into your lives and now say, well, you just violated this law here, Mr. Daugherty, and we're going to do to you like the Chinese are doing right now that Google has helped building. So China is now building what they call the it's the social responsibility score. And if
Right.
you fall below in this score, you can't ride the bullet trains, the airplanes, you're restricted on what you can buy in stores. And if Google is doing this, And they're deploying the same technology here right now in the United States. That's just leading to a dystopian.
And tell me you can't see the Democrats loving something like that.
Oh, well, they're
I
pushing.
can see AOC right now.
So we get this thing from our electric company here, XL. I don't have a problem telling who it is. They got this scam going on. So what they do each
Wait a
month.
minute, Wayne. Are you saying that the electric company has a scam?
Oh, listen to it. So each month they send this public thing to all the houses here. And your electricity use is being scored. How much electricity
Oh,
you're
they're trying to
using?
shame you.
Yes. And so what they'll do is say, well, you are a bad neighbor because your other neighbors hear what they're doing, and here are the really good neighbors. The problem is when we had our block party, we all brought the papers out. Guess what? We were all the bad neighbors.
That's because you're the rich white people, Wayne. But
Yeah.
Crystal MacArthur asked the real question: am I breaking a law by hula hooping in my backyard?
Could be. And I'm not, the seriousness of this is, folks, listen, AI is in your car. It follows you everywhere. People have these Alexas and the Google Hubs and what have you in every room in their house. They're recording you 24/7. What they're monitoring now is, in fact, heart rate, their emotions to sound. I have a friend in law enforcement, and they're now being introduced new technology that looks like a speed gun, right? A radar gun. They can now examine the human body. They can tell you what your respiration rate is, your heart rate is, what your temperature, what it should be. And if in fact that this is indication of you being under the influence of either alcohol or drugs.
Wow, I'm just looking up. Now, somebody just sent this thing in called, I don't want to say the name of the place. I don't want to give them business, but you put your name in here and it pulls up a bunch of information about you. And yeah, I mean, it's got a bunch of information about me. My approximate, let me show you this. This is hilarious. Let me show you this, Wayne. Just kind of go into your point a little bit. Desktop 1. Let me know if you can see this.
Mm-hmm.
So this is my reputation score.
Look at that.
0.88 out of 5.
Look at that.
I'm 55 years old because my birthday is May 23rd, 1963. Before moving to Clearwater, Jeff lived in Orlando, Las Vegas, and Sacramento. All true. And this is so interesting.
Look at this.
I think that was second wife right there.
Well, they got your political party affiliation, your ethnicity, your religion.
This one was my dad's third wife. That's my dad. This is interesting stuff. And of course, if you go and view all details, I'll probably want to charge you money for it.
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting.
It's here. And here's the thing. If I wanted to build a surrogate of you, before long, I'll have everything about you.
Wow. That's interesting.
And I call this, my big concern is that we have become prisoners of something we didn't even realize it's already here.
We are all just prisoners
exactly.
of our own devices.
But just prisoners like that.
Of our own device.
So let's take this a step further.
Wayne, you know what the bottom line is? You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave. But that's the lie, because we can leave if we learn how to leave.
If we learn how. And
I'm telling you, dunking yourself in 38-degree water every day will teach you. I'm just wanting to throw that in.
Yeah. There's some that just don't have that opportunity. I was looking at, well, you lived by the beach. You never had opportunity.
Oh, but Wayne, I'm taking it to a whole new level, because right now I'm at the place where the water is almost 50. So it's getting not so great. But being the intrepid researcher that I am, I went to the internet and I learned and studied and studied and learned and came up with the ultimate cold plunging hack. You go to Home Depot, You buy yourself like a big 16, 17, but depending upon how tall you are, cubic foot freezer. You put the freezer in your basement, you fill it up with water, leave about 5 to 7 inches at the top, plug it in. 72 hours later, you've got a perfectly perfect cold plunge tub. You can get it as low as about 38 degrees. Boom, problem solved. Yes, I'm on my way to Home Depot. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Now, if I could get that to be the constant temperature of my bedroom at night, perfect.
You could. And what's really fun is the way people look at you when you're in Home Depot, seeing if your human body will fit inside a deep freeze. That's the fun
Yeah. Yeah, there you'll probably be on YouTube. Someone will film that. I kid you not. They will.
But it's beautiful. You put a little timer on it. It comes on for like 2 hours every night to keep the water at the temperature you want it. And boom, you lift the lid. There it is.
Well, I think come summertime, because it does get hot.
And well, I was figuring if I was going to just do like a 55-gallon drum and just put ice in it, but I did the ice calculations, the price of ice. Within 3 months, I could buy my own freezer, which doesn't need any ice.
True that.
Kidneys, Wayne, kidneys.
Kidneys. Jeff, I'm telling you. Well, good. It'll obviously it's a good practice, and continued best with that.
I thought about that. Wayne D says, what if somebody closes the lid? I thought about that.
Yeah.
You don't want to get somebody upset and have them close the lid on you.
Well, Jeff was a good man.
Somebody says, and I don't know if this is true or not, but it's funny. Somebody says that Jeffrey Dahmer used to do that at Walmart, get inside the freezers and check out if you could put a human body in there.
Hey, speaking of Walmart, I know we're getting back
to Dahmer, and many times if you start typing my name into Google, Jeffrey Dahmer comes up.
Always comes up there. Yeah. So Walmart, have you heard what they're doing now with their latest shopping carts?
You know, I'm glad you mentioned that, Wayne, because one of the main reasons why I don't go to Walmart, and I made an analogy the other day on one of my shows about Walmart and psychic fairs kind of being the same place. And I really need to apologize to Walmart over that. That wasn't very nice. But they have the crappiest carts at Walmart. Every damn one of them is clunk, 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 clunk. Replace your carts, for God's sake.
They are.
Sorry. Go ahead.
And Mike. Guess what? The new carts are sensored array. They will monitor every square inch that you're going in their store, everything that you pick up. As you're putting your hands on the cart, it's measuring your heart rate, your breathing, your temperature. And all of this information is being sent back to their corporate headquarters right there in Arkansas.
Tracy's right. The Target carts are the bomb. Target's got some good carts.
They're sturdy.
They are nice. They're red. They're smooth. They're big, dude. And they're one of the few carts that you can actually ride through the parking lot without worrying about crashing. They're very evenly balanced too. Just as a note.
Besides the fact that they're picking up all the data on you. Again,
no, we're talking about Target carts, not Walmart.
Well, it's coming to Target as well. I've noticed at our Target, they're putting the aisle sensors up now. And
why does Target feel they have to have those big red concrete balls in front of their store? Are they afraid someone's going to drive their truck?
Yeah, I think those are anti-terrorist movements. You know, remember there was a time that Target was being targeted by, I think the far right because of their policies. Remember they had the unisex bathroom thing?
Oh, that's so horrible. I don't care.
It's like, what do I care?
I mean, it doesn't matter who's in the bathroom with you. The bathroom rules are very, very clear. Eyes forward, no talking. That's bathroom rule. That's male bathroom etiquette.
Eyes
forward, no talking.
Like, I have no desire to be in there, but it's exactly the length that I have to be in there. And then,
and don't start a conversation with me while you got your junk in your hand.
Yeah. Like, well, how you doing there?
Don't even do that.
True story. My company, we worked with NASCAR and we helped the race teams raise corporate money. Anyway, true story. I was at the Atlanta Motor Speedway and was in the John, and in comes Jeff Gordon, his first year as a rookie. And
Is he a little guy?
he is, yeah, he is. But when you talked about talking, a reporter was in there and literally tried to shake his hand when he was taking a piss.
Oh, that's so terrible.
So,
and then
Jeff,
you've got the idiot. I haven't seen one of these in a while, but every now and then you'll get the guy that comes in when there's a bunch of guys. I used to get it happened at the hockey games all the time. About one of every 4 games, somebody'd walk in and say, "Is this where all the dicks hang out?" Stupidest joke
I
ever.
tell
Shut
you
the
what,
hell up.
we are a
You know
species.
what? Jeff Gordon should have turned around and peed on him.
Yeah, I
That would have
mean,
been beautiful.
and literally Jeff says, "Hey, man, you know." That's literally what he said. And of course, I just walked out shaking my head, going, "Yeah, okay, buddy."
Well, since you told that story, Wayne, my dad tells the story one time. He was in the airport. I think it was in Chicago, and he's in there, and he had to go in there, and somebody's just in the stall, just blowing it up. I mean, like Jeff Daniels in Dumb and Dumber, just blowing it up. My dad can't, he's like, I get out of here. And before he could get out of here, the person walks out of the bathroom stall, and it's William Shatner.
A little bit of that Romulan ale, huh?
Oh boy, yeah.
Oh, Bill himself.
Yep.
Hey, in the end, I don't care if you're famous, if whatever, we all have to put our pants on one leg at a time.
Unless you're wearing a kilt.
Yeah. And, as I understand now, the kilt had a number of purposes. Who would have thought?
I don't think I want to know about any of them.
Well, actually, I found out, the kilt, they always had the extra thing that came across here. I never realized, but that was also their tent.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. So in many ways,
that was funny. James says it had to be the damn Klingon food.
all the time. The kilt. Yeah. So
that's interesting. So that was, they carried their tent right on them.
Right on top of them. Yeah. Who would have thought?
Who'd have thunk it?
This goes to show you see, those cats back then were a lot smarter than what we give them credit for.
Generally speaking, EO, they do not wear underwear under their kilts.
No, and underwear is really kind of a modern day thing.
Kind of a modern thing. Why do you think we felt the need? Now, let's get to the real stories, ladies and gentlemen. Why did modern man feel the need to invent underwear?
There's a lot of unhealthy things about underwear.
Unhealthy?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't understand the boxers. What's with the boxers? I like the boxer briefs. I like some snugness, some tightness. I like to feel firm and secure. I can't understand the whole boxer thing. Why even bother?
Who knows?
Thank you, Two Trees. But why underwear? And I guess even for women, underwear can lead to less than desirable health consequences because it cuts off airflow and stuff like that.
All sorts of things. I mean,
we don't
why
really
toilet paper?
Airflow too much, but
why
toilet paper?
Well,
that's one of the greatest inventions of modern world, Wayne.
Actually, it's interesting. It is considered one of the top inventions of the modern era.
Dude, it is. I mean, there's not many things that I would choose over toilet paper.
And my wife is like most women are, they know the difference between good toilet paper and cheap toilet paper.
But you know what the sweet spot is, Wayne? If you can find a good one that's cheap, ooh.
Well, you might do that. So, I was in my studies of Roman culture, I always thought it was interesting what the Romans did because they had the public johns. And how did you take care of this? Well, I never realized it. And you can actually see it in Rome, in the ruins. There's always a little water trough that's running by where you would sit and do your business. You had a sponge. You had your own sponge.
Oh, so it was BYOS, bring your own sponge.
Literally. Yeah.
Wow.
Who'd have thought?
Ooh, yeah, who'd have thunk it? I don't know about that.
And then, when I was a Christian,
Somebody, I forget who it was that rolled by, but it was great. It's like, have you guys ever tried silk underwear?
There's a lot of guys who will wear women's underwears. I mean, I know a lot of cops that pulled them over and go, "The hell." So when I was a Christian, I used to
That's a
think
whole different story right there, Wayne.
different one was that. Well, what did Jesus
Cliff
do?
Desmond says toilet paper was invented shortly after poison ivy was discovered.
Yeah, now you know what the old expression, he's got a burr up his ass means,
But here's my question. Somebody's talking about bidets. Okay,
Yes.
so you got a bidet. How do you get dry?
Toilet paper, I guess.
But then doesn't that leave like residue? And the second greatest invention after toilet paper are those little wipes that come in the box that you can use after the toilet paper.
Oh,
those things are great.
Yeah, but they are the agony of every metropolitan water sanitary system.
Don't flush them. Just put them and really walk out, throw them in the kitchen trash.
The one that they found in New York City is, I think it's becoming alive. It's morphed into something.
It's a tulpa, a TP tulpa.
It's these toilet wipes, the wipes and the people that work down there. They said that they found one that's almost a mile long.
Are you serious?
Yes, it's clogging up. I mean, another one they found in the floods, Bend, Carolina, the problem with it.
So those things are not biodegradable.
Oh, no.
Well, I don't put them in. I've been given stern instructions not to put them in the toilet. So I don't. I discreetly place them in the trash.
Yeah, it's because you're going to get a plumber's bill no matter what.
Well, not if you put it in the trash.
No. I'm just saying if you flush it down there, because they ain't designed that. But then again, it's this toilet paper thing. It is one of the greatest things. If you're going to be stranded
Crystal
on an
makes
island,
her own wipes. How the hell do you do that, Crystal?
How do you do that?
I don't know, but she makes them, and they're
polypropylene
glycol free.
Huh.
Well, it's just a real quick wipe. I don't think it's that big of a deal. But anyway.
Yeah. Well, that's a good.
It's Uranus. It's Uranus.
It's Uranus.
Wait a second. Let's say Uranus. Wayne, I have to ask you. I know that you and Patrick have been talking to the planets.
Yeah.
Are you ever going to talk to Uranus?
We do.
Do you?
Yeah.
What does Uranus say?
Uranus says it's going, it's out of its orbit. And, and that's scientific fact. And it's on its side. So it's going
I've been wanting to ask you that for months.
Yeah. And when you think of Patrick, he is he's fighting a battle. And his wife is
that's
in
terrible.
fact, we're no longer doing the show because he's having just to focus all of his time on her. And so just send
health issues.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah. Yeah. It's heartbreaking.
It really is.
You don't she has cancer and it's advancing.
Oh, terrible stuff.
Yeah. But anyway, it tells me that I believe planets do have conscience. I do believe that they are sentient. I just think our ancestors believe that. I mean, you look at it today, modern astrology would tell you that the planets have personifications, traits, right?
Zora says that Uranus is her ruling planet.
Yeah. Jupiter told us that it was going through some serious changes. I know it sounds funny, but
I'm just reading some of the chat.
What's going on?
Is Uranus a gas giant?
Actually, if you listen to the sounds of when Voyager went by it, it's a raging
sounds of Uranus.
It's a raging planet.
It is.
Yeah.
Wow. It's loud. Huh?
Yeah, you can actually go online and all that the sun, Mercury, Venus, Earth. Earth is one of the most remarkable planets. It's sound.
Kenny wants to know if Uranus is flat.
I don't know. I contend that I think that we've got it all wrong all along. We think we live in a 3D dimension, but I think we live in a 4D. We have to live in a 4D dimension. Time is the fourth dimension.
What color is Uranus?
It's a beautiful blue planet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, beautiful blue planet.
Interesting. And on the flat Earth note, I noticed I did a little show about a company sending up a rocket for DARPA, and this company, I think they're called Rocket X. It wasn't NASA, but it was, Wayne, live footage from orbit showing the Earth and showing the Earth quite round. So I wonder how flat Earth people are taking that one. It wasn't NASA. It was another company just showing how their rockets separated, and there in the background was a nice blue, round, beautiful Earth. So
we did Steve Olson back in the days with when I was into the Planet X thing. Did a balloon.
I mean, that's the P word. We don't say the P word.
Yeah,
Right?
I know, it's like, oh no. But even when you get up to 100,000 feet, she's round, baby. You can see the curvature.
I flew in. I got an incentive ride in the back seat of a F-15, and I wasn't into all this then. But if I go back in my memory, I believe I can remember seeing the curvature, but I can't swear to it. Right before I threw up in the mask.
Yeah. If you're up around 60, 70,000 feet, you'll see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then when you think
Why
about
don't we see it when we're on an airplane?
because we're still in very low atmosphere.
30,000 feet is low, huh?
Is low. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the ISS is at 224, 250 miles.
That's not real, Wayne. The ISS isn't real.
I see it all the time.
Yep, I know you do.
Comes right over our house. But they said that the Earth's atmosphere now extends out nearly 1 million miles out.
And guess what? It did before they knew it.
Yeah. So I don't know, my friend. This has been a good show. Lots to think on. We still didn't address really what that rhesus whole thing was, and I still contend that it was the aliens that wrote these books.
Dale Valley says that in the salt flats in Utah, you can see the curvature of the Earth.
I think wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, I don't know about that. We're not too far from that. We should go take a look.
And if you think about it, if you do it by the circumference of the Earth, every 250 miles, you're advancing on another piece of that. So,
well, I think I have a guy that can shed a lot of light on this. And I met him in Sedona. And interestingly enough, I just happen to have his card lying here. And I'm going to contact him to come on the show. His name is Shelby Jacobs. And he designed the cameras for one of the Apollo missions. I can't remember which one, but Shelby Jacobs.
Cool.
So we're going to get him on the show, and I bet he has some interesting things to say about flat Earth.
Bet he would. I mean, he would know.
Yeah. Great guy. Shelby and his wife walking on the beach.
There you go. Gotta love it.
Gotta love it. Well, Wayne, it's been a good show. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been a great audience.
Yeah. This has been fun.
Shelby on. We have Joseph Atwell coming back on. We've got Sonia Barnett coming on. We've got Barnabas Nagy to come on about the untold history of the United States. Jay Campbell for Not Your Normal Sunday Show. That's Wayne Steiger. Jay Campbell, Last Stand, Rocky Stucci, Scotty Roberts, all the luminaries. They're coming on.
Well, good company.
Absolutely.
It's been fun.
It has been fun. And there's some other people too, but I can't remember who right now.
Well,
doesn't mean that they're not very, very important.
They just escape the moment.
It's just very, very early.
It is early.
Only had 2 cups of coffee.
Only 2?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I've been up since 4:30.
Wow.
Jupiter is, if you get in the nighttime sky right now, is quite beautiful. Quite beautiful.
Where do I find it, Wayne?
Let's see. All you have to do is go out about 4:00 and look to the east, almost due east. You'll see it.
So should I download that app? What's that app called that tells you where the stars are?
Oh, which one is it? There's a number of good ones. I have.
Tell me a good one.
Oh, let's see here. I actually have. Give me 1 second.
And thanks for finally telling me what Uranus has been saying. I've been wanting to know, Wayne.
Yeah, it's going through a lot of changes, and we've been noticing those. So what is that? I have an app in here somewhere that.
Well, you can text it to me.
Yeah. I don't know where it went. So who
Well,
knows?
very nice to have you all in the chat room today. Very nice to be here. It was a great show. Looking forward to next week. Wayne, what have you got going on this week? Star chart, somebody says, is a good one.
Yeah. I forget which one I have. I got my 1,000th video will be done on Monday. Be my 1,000th video in my archives. This will be 999.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you. So 6 million views, and yeah. So
Perfect.
I'm going to be teaching on the principles of faith this week.
Are you going all Kenneth Hagin on us?
No, I'm just so tired of people. Stellarium, that's the one that I use, is Stellarium. Thank you. No, there is so much fear being propagated. YouTube, that's what, drives a lot of it. It's either insanity of nonsense or fear. And I have a lot of people who write me that are just bound in fear.
Yep.
And, we got to change that, Jeff. You and I know the principles of faith. I taught it in sales for many years. And so I'm going to teach the same principles the same ones that Brian Tracy, Earl Nightingale, Zig Ziglar have taught in the past, that will help people realize that they are, in fact, their own answer.
Excellent. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. So, buddy, thank you. Keep yourself safe over there in flyover country.
Will do.
Be watching for the B-52s, my friend. Look up in the skies this week.
Will they be flying around?
Your area, if I think where you are, and I think I'm right on that, the answer is yes.
Ooh, that'd be awesome. It's been a while since I've seen a buff fly over.
Yeah. So,
all right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for being here. Wayne, as always, thanks for being here. And we just appreciate your attention, and we'll see you again next Sunday morning. Make this your best Sunday ever.
Thank you.
Until next time, I'm Jeffrey Daugherty for Wayne Steiger. We'll see you all again real soon.
Bye-bye. Thanks, Jeff.
Take care, my friend.
All righty, buddy.